Logical morning. Welcome to Vidhigya presents the Hindu newspaper analysis. Today's session will have following segment. First, overview of today's newspaper. Second, must know topics and explanation. And third, quiz time with 5 important questions. So starting with the first segment. So in today's newspaper, on this page, there was no important article. This page also no important article. So the first important article is African technique used to translocate deer from Keoladev. So we will discuss about this technique that is known as Boma Technique and why these deer are being translocated to Keoladev and where is Keoladev National Park. So we will discuss that. And there is one more aspect that is National Tiger Conservation Authority that we'll also discuss in our second segment. Then another article is India's stand on Ukraine's war is tragic. So we have discussed about India's stance and whatever is happening in Russia and Ukraine. However, what is important here is the Budapest Memorandum and about the nuclear arsenal. Nuclear arsenal. So this we will discuss. We have also discussed earlier that the BRICS resolution. So in 2021, the BRICS resolution it proposed by India, and this was passed that no country, no BRICS country will unilaterally. Here it's written that unilateral use of force, that BRICS nation were opposed to unilateral use of force against any state, wanted all dispute resolved by peaceful means, and categorically ruled out the use of force against the territorial integrity or political independence of a state. But the Russia's invasion is in violation of this resolution, and Russia is a part of BRICS. So this is one aspect of this article. So another article is true freedom and hijab in our mindset. So this we have discussed in detail about. There was one article related to reasonable accommodation that we discussed in yesterday's session. So you can go and watch that. What is about this reasonable accommodation, and rest of the arguments are similar. That this article argument is making a case on that why that this article I also highlight that there are religious symbols such as a turban and bindi and bangles which are worn by Hindu or Sikh communities, and why this hijab is banned. So that was not important. What was important is the reasonable accommodation argument that we have discussed previously. And then along with that, Article 25 is important, that right to freedom of religion. So these two are the important aspects. Now this appeal will be filed in the Supreme Court, and we will discuss about the decision of the Supreme Court whenever the Supreme Court will give its verdict. And there's one more important aspect is related to this case is about that one we have discussed about reasonable accommodation. Second, we have discussed about the Article 25, and then there is a test of essential religious practice. So whether this hijab constitutes essential religious practice or not. So Karnataka High Court said that no, but we will wait for and see what the Supreme Court has to say. Another important article is harm in the name of food. So recently we have discussed that the central government through National Afforestation and Economic Development Board launched an ambitious 19,000 crore plan for afforestation project to rejuvenate 13 major rivers. So what are the arguments that we'll discuss in our second segment, that why this is good idea and why this is not a good idea. Then this is related to translocation of African cheetah from South Africa and Namibia to Puno National Park that we'll discuss in detail. The another important article here is Iceland brace for cyclone, ship service suspend. So there was a cyclone in the Andaman and Nicobar region. So you have to remember the cyclone, that this is the first cyclone of this season, and the name of the cyclone is Asani. Yes, the Asani cyclone, and where it is in the Andaman and Nicobar region. So you have to remember about this, the cyclone, where the cyclone is. Then another important article is India hopes to put down roots in Arctic. So we'll discuss about in this article, we'll discuss about Arctic Council, importance of Arctic region. So that we'll discuss in our second segment. Apart from this, China still hopes India will join RCEP. So we have discussed in We have discussed regional comprehensive economic partnership in one explained session in detail. So you can go and watch this RCEP. What is RCEP and why India backed out from RCEP? And currently in RCEP there are 15 members. That 10 are Asian members. Then China, Japan, South Korea, Australia, and New Zealand. So 10 plus 15. There are 15 earlier, 16. India backed out. India did not join. So you can go and watch that session for more details related to RCEP. So now we'll start discussing the important articles. So the first article is African cheetah used to translocate, African technique used to translocate deer from Keoladeo. So an uncommon experiment with Africa's Boma technique. So what is this? This is Boma technique. Boma technique, this is African technique undertaken at Keoladeo National Park in Rajasthan, Bharatpur district for capturing and translocating spotted deer is said to improve the prey base in Mukundra tiger. So this is a technique. So in this what happens? So here it is written, it involves luring of animals into enclosure by chasing them through a funnel-like fencing. So it involves a technique in which the animals are chased into a funnel-like fencing, and the funnel tappers into animal selection come loading. So through this technique, the animals are chased into funnel shape fencing, and they are directly, and through this technique they are directly loaded into the chute supported with grass mat, where there are grass mats are loaded, and green nets to make opaque for animal, and like grass mat is there and green nets is there to make it opaque for the animals. And this is a technique that is used in that to capture, or you can say to translocate, or you can say to capture them and then to translocate. So you have to remember about this Boma technique. What is this Boma technique? This Boma technique is used for capturing and translocating animals. So it is African technique. So now what is happening? So why it is happening? So what happened that the National Tiger Conservation Authority has approved a proposal to shift 2 tigers from Ranthambore National Park to Mukundra. So what happens? 2 tigers are being translocated from Ranthambore to Mukundra. So when these 2 tigers are translocated to this, so they need prey. These predators need prey, and for these prey, these deer are being translocated from. These deer are also translocated from Keoladeo National Park, so as to ensure that the tigers that will be relocated to the Mukundra will have the prey base. And because the Mukundra lost 2 tigers and 2 cubs in 2020, is now left with an 8-year-old tigress. So first, these tigers from Ranthambore National Park will be translocated to Mukundra, and in order to ensure they have enough prey base, the deer from Keoladeo National Park also being translated to Mukundra National Park. So this is what this article talks about. So now we have to know about the national parks in Rajasthan. So there are 5 national parks in Rajasthan. First is Sariska, second is Mukundra Hills National Park, third is Ranthambore, fourth is Desert National Park, fifth is Keoladeo National Park. So these are the 5 national parks from Rajasthan. Now, the second article is India's stand on Ukraine war is tragic. So we have discussed that India has abstained in UNSC, UN General Assembly, International Atomic Energy Agency, and then India, and also on this UN Human Rights Commission, Human Rights HRC. So India has abstained from voting in these resolutions. So we have discussed about India's stand that India needs Russia when it comes to its defense ties, and in the RIC, in the BRICS, and India and Russia is a traditional defense partner of India and traditional friend of India. So India needs Russia in its continental area to tackle China, because India needs arms and ammunition from Russia. At the same time, India needs USA in the maritime region, that is Indo-Pacific region, to counter China's aggression. So that is why India is walking a tightrope, and therefore India has abstained from voting. So now this article says when Ukraine won its independence from the unraveling USSR. So USSR broke in 1991, and 15 nations broke out from USSR. So at the time of independence, Ukraine had world's third largest stock of nuclear weapons. So in 1991, Ukraine had world's third largest stock of nuclear weapons. Statistic made public showed Ukraine had about 1,900 strategic nuclear warhead, 176 intercontinental ballistic missile, or ICBM is that, intercontinental ballistic missile, that this ballistic missile has the range which can travel from one continent to another continent, and 44 long distance strategic bomber. However, in 1944, Ukraine signed the Budapest Memorandum. That is important. That is Budapest Memorandum with Russia, USA, and UK. So, according to this memorandum, the Ukraine agreed to surrender. Ukraine agreed to dismantle, or you can say destroy its nuclear weapons. And these three veto holding permanent member of UNSC agreed to respect the independence, sovereignty, and territorial integrity and existing border of the Ukraine. So through this, it was agreed that these members will respect Ukraine's territorial sovereignty, integrity, and existing border of Ukraine. But Ukraine has violated this Russia has violated this in 2014 by annexing Crimea, and now Russia is also doing again by invading Ukraine in the 2022. So this is about Budapest Convention. Now the third article is harm in the name of good. So we have discussed this, that government has launched a program of rejuvenating 13 major rivers. So by planting trees. So through this program was launched by the central government through National Afforestation and Economic Development Board. Economic development. So what is important here, that why it is a good idea, that the article talks about harm in the name of good. So we'll discuss that. So the article says forests are complex ecosystem that are built over the years. So forest is different from planting trees. So when you plant trees, you plant trees, and when there is a natural forest, they involve different animals, biodiversity, small microorganism. So it is a complex ecosystem as compared to the forest that is grown artificially or through man-made. So man-made forests will be totally different from the forests that are grown naturally. So therefore, this article says forests are complex ecosystem that are built over years due to interplay of birds, mammals, reptiles, insects, amphibians, fungi, microorganisms, water, soil, environment, condition, and other factors. So when a forest is naturally grown, it involves an interplay of different species, and therefore this ecosystem is a different ecosystem. And when you plant a man-made forest, this forest ecosystem will be completely different from this forest ecosystem, because it is a man-made. Therefore, the interplay of different microorganisms, different living animals, or different abiotic components such as water and soil and all that will play a different part as compared to when it happens into the natural forest. So unless these players are a part of the rebuilding process, so what happens in natural forest, there are different organisms, different factors play their role in order to make it a natural forest. And unless these players are part of the rebuilding process, trees will remain as green cover rather than enchanting natural complex ecosystem. So if these other players are not playing their role, then this man-made forest, this forest will look like it's a green cover of tree rather than enchanting natural complex ecosystem that they are. So it will be different. It will be mere a green cover of trees, green cover provided by trees rather than a natural forest, because of lack of the role played by the other players such as reptile, insect, amphibian, fungi, microorganism, all that. So now it is argued that planting trees will help store carbon and reduce pollution. That is no doubt, that is true, that this forest and this man-made forest both will absorb carbon dioxide and reduce pollution. It is true that all trees, invasive species and native and non-native species store carbon. So no matter what species it is, it will store carbon. But the other benefits, which are critically vary widely depending on the species planted and the location of plantation. So this article says that whatever tree you will plant, that will store carbon and will reduce pollution. However, the other benefits that natural forests will provide, or the forest that the man-made forest will provide, will depend on the species that is being planted in a particular region, because different particular region have different ecosystem, different temperature, atmosphere, soil, geography, topography. Therefore, the species that will be planted in a particular region will decide the benefit that the humanity will get out from that forest. So this article further says, if wrong areas are selected for plantation, the natural habitat may get altered, which will cause the habitat specialist species to become extinct. So for example, let's say this region, and some species are being planted in this region which are not natural, which are not naturally suited to this region. So what will happen? Suppose those animals or other plants which are in this region, and this become an invasive species. So when this become an invasive species, the animals that are dependent on this forest will not be able to survive in this invasive species area, and therefore the whole ecosystem will change, will get altered, and this it will cause habitat specialist species to become extinct. Therefore, the article says it is important to chalk out the plant, that's which plant species to be planted in which area, that becomes an important. It's not like you go and plant any tree in a particular region. For example, in this region, this is a tropical region, or you can say this is a dry deciduous region. So those plant trees can be suited in dry deciduous area region, should only be planted, not any plant. Therefore, it is important to figure out which plant species to be planted. When article says overall it is not bad idea to plant trees, but the aim should not be only plant trees. It should be to make tree planting activities friendly to local biodiversity. So it should not be that in a particular area when there are some forests or trees, and in that you plant an invasive species. So when this invasive species and invasive trees will be there, then this will affect the whole ecosystem, and then the whole ecosystem will dead. So therefore it is important that tree planting activities friendly to local diversity. If we want to restore forest, we need to first understand systematically the native vegetation. So we have to understand the native vegetation, and as per the native vegetation, the plant species should be planted in that area, and and the biodiversity that play critical role, and also the biodiversity that are living in that particular region must also be understood, so that those plant disease that can supplement, that can complement that biodiversity should be planted in that region. So if we plant a range of locally found indigenous species, biodiversity will make comeback. So those plant trees which are which are locally found and are indigenous species of that region should be planted in order to make this biodiversity a comeback. Apart from that, another solution is to let forests come back on their own through protection. You ensure protection of those forests, and then the forest will come back automatically. This is called assisted natural vegetation, where you conserve and you prevent deforestation and you prevent further degradation. This is known as assisted natural regeneration, and cheaper and more effective method. Scientific studies have shown that natural regeneration absorbs 40 times more carbon than plantation and hosts a lot of more biodiversity. So it says that those which are naturally regrown forests absorb 40% more carbon than compared to man-made forest, and it also holds more biodiversity because there's a lot of complex interdependence or interplay between different varieties. Therefore, naturally assisted regeneration forests are of much more importance than man-made forests. So that is the whole argument of this article. Now, the complexities of introducing African cheetahs to India. So we have discussed that somewhere around 50 cheetahs will be relocated to different national parks from South Africa and Namibia. So first batch of cheetah will be translocated from South Africa and Namibia to Puno National Park. Puno is in Madhya Pradesh National. So the goal is to establish viable cheetah metapopulation in India that allows the cheetah to perform its functional role as a top predator and to provide space for expansion of cheetah within historical range, thereby contributing its global conservation effort. So the aim is the officially stated aim is to make cheetah as a top predator and to provide spaces for expansion of cheetah population within its historical range where it was earlier found. So it was declared extinct in 1952. Now, African cheetahs are not required to perform. So the article says that, okay, this is what is the aim of government. However, the author says the African cheetahs are not required to perform the role of top predator in these habitat when the site that they have identified already had a resident population and of leopard, transient tiger, and also site for translocation of Asiatic lion. So the article says then in Kuno National Park, you are planning to introduce cheetah to act them as a top predator. However, in that region only, there are leopard, tiger, and lion that can perform the same role. Therefore, this officially stated goal is not worth the goal because there are other animals which can perform the role of top predator. So the article further says in other open dry habitats in India, there are species performing this role. In other areas also there are species which are performing this role. Example, wolf and caracal, both of which are highly endangered. So it says that there are other species which are also performing the role of this top predator. And however, these species are endangered and therefore these species need urgent conservation. So what this article is saying that you want to bring new species which were earlier found in India and you want to increase their population and conserve. Rather, what you should be doing that those species such as caracal and vole, which is these species are also performing the role of top predator and are endangered. Therefore, therefore the government should rather do what is to conserve these species, is to conserve these species, that is caracal and wolf, and therefore they need conservation and preservation in order to increase their pollution. So government what is trying to do is trying to make its focus to cheetah rather and neglecting these new species, these other species, that is caracal and vole, which are also in the need of preservation, protection, and conservation. So the article says even the government's official estimate is expecting at the best only a few dozen cheetahs at a couple of sites, that too only after 15, which will. So it also says that the effort, because now the whole ecosystem has changed. When the cheetah will be brought into this new ecosystem has to manage, conserve there, and the ecosystem has to be planned and ecosystem has to be developed in such a way to you can say to cater to the needs of the cheetah. So instead of doing this, those species, those top predators which are endangered, government should focus on their preservations. The article further says Asiatic lions and a variety of species already found in these ecosystems can well perform this role, as I've also told you. So if the government is serious about restoration and protection of these habitats, it first needs to remove grassland from the category of wasteland and prevent further degradation, fragmentation, or destruction. The government says that in order that if the government also wants to protect these habitats, the habitats of this cheetah, lion, tiger, what government needs to do, that government needs to do remove grassland from the category of wasteland and to prevent and therefore preventing its further degradation, fragmentation, and destruction of these habitats. So this is the irony, this is the situation that why this author is not in favor of translocating cheetah from Africa and Namibia to India, because it says that there are other species which are also in the need of conservation and that they can also perform the same role as the cheetah is expected to perform the role. Therefore, instead of translocating cheetah and making suitable changes to the ecosystem, rather what government should do, government should make efforts to conserve those species which are presently found in India and can perform the role as cheetah is expected to perform after translocation. So the last article is India hopes to put down roots in Arctic. So first thing is about Arctic Council. So there are in Arctic Council, it is an intergovernmental forum of 8 countries set up in 1996 to deal with the Arctic issues, has been transformed into an active organization where the future. So Arctic Council was set up in 1996 and it has 8 members. And the members are US, Norway, Canada, Denmark, Iceland, and then Russia, Sweden, and Finland. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So these are the 8 members of the Arctic Council. So you have to remember the 8 members of the Arctic Council. India now has a single station, Himadri. So India also has a station in the Arctic that is known as Himadri. Himadri in the Arctic region. In the Iceland, Svalbard in Norwegian archipelago. So in the Norwegian archipelago, India has a station named as Himadri, where India's research personnel are usually present for 180 days. India is in the process of procuring an icebreaker research vehicle that can navigate. So this Arctic region is full of ice. Therefore, India is looking for a icebreaker vehicle which can break the ice and therefore make further studies possible for Indian personnel. India has had a research base in this region, that is, I've told you, Himadri since 2008, and also has 2 observatories. Since there are 8 members in Arctic Council, but India has the status of observer member. So India can also part in the meeting of the Arctic Council, but cannot vote. India is an observer member, and India became the observer member for the first time in 2013. And 12 other countries have such a status. So importance of Arctic. So we have discussed Arctic Council, India's observer member. So importance. So why it is important? So official estimates the Arctic holds that around 30 to 20%, 30 to 20% of the world's undiscovered oil reserve. So 30, you can say around 15 to 20% of world's undiscovered oil is present in the Arctic region. Second, around 30% of undiscovered gas deposits are found in the Arctic region. So this is why it becomes important. Apart from that, mineral exploration, it is also rich in iron ore. It is that Finland have minerals particularly. So this Arctic region is also rich in iron ore. So that is why, so oil is one, natural gas is another, then iron ore is another. Apart from the minerals, so these are the minerals. Apart from the minerals, the Arctic region will emerge as a new source of fishing because the ice is melting because of the global warming. Therefore, it is a new source of fishing. It is a new. However, this is sad part that the Arctic region is being melting because it will lead to rise in the sea level. And apart from that, when there will be thawing of permafrost, it will lead to emergence of more pathogen and greenhouse gases. This will lead to this will further lead to melting of the ice, and therefore there will be rise in the sea level. You can see floods and other changes. When there will be melting of the ice, it will also affect the wind pattern and therefore affect the overall monsoon, or you can say weather pattern across the world. So this is not something to be happy, rather than it is a sad fact that because of the human exploitation of the nature, such a situation will arise. However, apart from this, the article says that apart from the mineral, the Arctic region will emerge as a new source of fishing. This region is already being called the kitchen of Europe. The release of new lands as a result of melting ice will lead to development of agriculture in the region. So it talks about that there will be mineral, fishing, and new land for the agriculture. So these are the importance of the Arctic region. Now we'll discuss 5 important questions. Question number 1, Keoladev National Park is situated in which state? Your option are Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Uttarakhand, none of the above. So the correct option is Rajasthan, Keoladev in Rajasthan. Question number 2, Kuno National Park is situated in which state? Your options are Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Uttarakhand, none of the above. So the correct option here is Kuno in Madhya Pradesh. Question number 3, India became observer member of Arctic Council in which year? So your options are 2015, 2014, 2013, none of the above. And so the correct option is 2013. Question number 4, Arctic Council was established in which year? Your option are 1996, 1986, 1976, none of the above. The correct option is 1996. Question 5, which of the following is not a member of Arctic Council? Your option are Canada, Russia, Denmark, UK. So the correct option is UK. So that's all for this session. Stay logical with Vidhigya, your best pal in CLAT Preps.